Soft tissue palpation of the shoulder, beginning with the sternocleidomastoid at the mastoid, down to the manubrium, back up, and then going to the clavicle. We're then going to palpate the biceps muscle as a group. Okay, you can relax your arm for me. We're now going to palpate the deltoid muscle as a group, starting anterior, moving posterior, and back and forth until we get to the deltoid tuberosity. Now the anterior head of the deltoid, the middle head of the deltoid, and then the posterior head of the deltoid. We're going to come back up to where the acromion is, and we're going to move slightly anterior inferior and find the subacromial bursa. We're then going to move lateral over the anterior head of the deltoid just before the medial head starts and palpate the subdeltoid bursa. Okay, and if I can have you swing around for me and face the chalkboard. Okay, we move the hair to the other side. We're now going to palpate the trapezius beginning at the external occipital protuberance. Can I go under the strap? All the way out over to the acromion, back over the superior border of, or superior spine of the scapula, all the way down to T12. And can I go under this just a little bit? And then back up. We're now going to palpate rhomboid minor, and then we're going to palpate over to the superior border of the scapula. We're going to go back to T2, and we're going to palpate over the rhomboid major. We're going to palpate those two muscles as a group. Now we're going to palpate the rotator cuff muscles. Beginning above the spine of the scapula, I'm going to palpate the supraspinatus. Below the spine of the scapula, I'm going to come back and palpate the entire infraspinatus muscle. We're going to find the inferior angle of the scapula, come up about 1/3 of the border, and then we're going to find the teres minor muscle, and we're going to palpate. Okay, and if I can have you spin around again and face the camera. The last rotator cuff muscle is the subscapularis. To find that, we're going to lift the arm, and we're going to go directly into the axilla, past the latissimus dorsi, and put a slight A to P pressure, and palpate the subscapularis muscle. We're now going to palpate the borders of the axilla, beginning with the axillary lymph nodes, directly into the axilla. We're then going to palpate the long head of the biceps tendon. We are then going to palpate the latissimus dorsi muscle. Now we're going to palpate the serratus anterior muscle. And can I have you take your other hand and distract your breast tissue for me? We're now going to palpate the pectoralis major. Okay, and you can relax your hands for me.